we're in the midst, of course, in the grip of all the Manchester United reaction following the departure of Ruben Amorim, axed after row over United tactics. Many newspapers carrying pictures of Ruben and his wife walking about yesterday, not long after United had announced that he'd been sacked as manager. Didn't look overly perturbed. Of course, he's probably left with a fairly decent amount of money. A Brinks Mat amount of money that will make anybody happy. But how has the news gone down in his native Portugal? Let's head out to Lisbon right now and speak to a good friend of this show, editor-in-chief of Record, the newspaper, Sergio Krithinas. Sergio, good morning to you, what's left of it. Thanks for joining us on the show. How did the news of Ruben's departure from Manchester United, how was it received in Portugal? How did you guys react?
Hi, my pleasure to be here. Good morning to you all.
Hi, morning.
It was like an accident waiting to happen. No, I think it was very clear after the last, I would say, 2 press conferences of Amorim, when he was hinting that something was wrong with the board, that there was not much room for him to stay, unless there was somebody else sacked in the board. That's the feeling we got. You couldn't live together. This Ruben Amorim could not live together with some people in the board, because they were basically, he was in public attacking them and complaining about the lack of power that he had, and this. It's very Ruben Amorim to go clashing and do it against the board. He was at Sporting at some points when things were not good at Sporting on his basically second full season, when they finished 4th. He was very critical of some moments and some decisions of the board on the signings, especially after they sold Mateus Nunes to Manchester City in the summer, and so he was very critical of them. So it's quite Ruben Amorim to be outspoken and not left
in that way
unsaid.
He's got form for it, as we would say here.
What was the Portuguese press expectation of Amorim and his voyage into Man United? Did you think, given the manner in which he achieved success in Portugal, that this was going to translate and that he was going to be successful in Man United, or did you guys always have reservations about him operating at a club like Manchester United?
I was very convinced that he would succeed in Man United, honestly, because as he said himself, that Man United, it's not very different on the situation when he got to the club that Sporting was when he got to Sporting. In a sense, it's a huge club. It's a huge English club. This is a huge Portuguese club, but they were struggling a lot in the last years, and they needed someone to change. And Amorim is a really intelligent person. I think he's a really bright guy, in the sense that he's always smiling. He carries a lot of optimism with him, and I think that he would be part of his intelligence would be the way he would adapt to.
Do you think that I've listened to him all year, tried to find the intelligence that he referred to in the observations that he's made. He's talked about Manchester United being the team that he presided over being the worst in the history of Man United, which of course is nonsense, because they got relegated to the second tier of English football in 1974. He talks about his age and his immaturity and his inexperience. Are these the marks of the intelligence that you attribute to him?
Well, that's the marks. The marks of intelligence is when he admits that he shouldn't have said that, and he does that in 2-3 days after that. He assumes that he was impulsive when he said some of the comments he made. When he was in Sporting, he said a lot of things that he shouldn't have said as well. He did a lot of things like traveling to meet West Ham owner Sullivan on the week before they win the league. They were one game away from winning the league, and he was traveling to England to do it. It was a silly mistake, but he always got away with making a joke about it, And when they were celebrating the league title that season, he was saying, "I have to go to bed early because tomorrow I have an early flight to catch." That's typical Amorim, always with a smile, always with a joke to get away from things.
What's going to happen now, Sergio? I mean, where's he going to land next? That's basically what I'm asking you.
It's a big question mark. I think in Portugal, I think it's almost impossible to see him coming back to Sporting, because the way he left was not very friendly. There was some harm, I would say, some resent from the Sporting board for the way he left. Porto, I don't think they need. They are quite happy with Francesco Farioli, unless Farioli leaves in the summer to Chelsea, to Man United. He was linked with Chelsea already. I don't think it happens. And there's a big question mark in Benfica because, you know, Amorim is a Benfica fan since his childhood. He played for Benfica. It was like there's a love story unfinished between Amorim and Benfica. And of course, there's always this rumor, but Benfica right now, they have Jose Mourinho, and Mourinho has another year in his contract. So I don't see it happen in the summer. I mean, things can happen, can change, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure if Amorim comes back to Portugal, it will be really tough for him to go back to England, at least to a top level, because probably there will be some suspicion on his qualities as a manager, or as a coach.
Sergio, thank you very much indeed anyway for your comments. We'll see where he lands next. For the time being, he'll probably put his feet up and enjoy some of the payout that he's been given as he left Old Trafford. Sergio Krithinas is the editor-in-chief of Record. It is hard to imagine, after the way he's outlined it there, where he might land next.
Well, it's interesting because we had Martin Keown referring to the decent manager that he was, and I said to him, I'm not so sure. He left Sporting when he wanted to, so now we're hearing that he left Sporting with not a good flavour in their mouth.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't think he manages in England anytime soon. And if there's no big jobs in Portugal, it'll be fascinating. It'll be interesting to see what the industry perception of the job that he's done.
Right.
Because like the fellow just said there, Sergio just said, he charms people. He talks people into believing. He's got the Man United fans, you know, believing in him and looking at him as a second coming when his results are poor, and they'd be screaming in outrage at any other manager because somehow he's spoken out. He's spoken truth to power. Yeah. He hasn't spoken truth to power at all. He's said things that's gained him currency whilst not achieving very much.
Yeah, and it landed him in trouble. Are you okay there? You got your own little pharmacy going, haven't you?
Just trying to get some energy into me.
Oh, right. Oh, we could do with that. You're listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan, who's clearly flagging at this time. We're live in talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.